wanted the best? You've got the best podcast, the hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Welcome to the big show, my family and friends. As always, we welcome you into the warm and tender arms of the Chris Voss Show family, the Chris Voss Show podcast family, that is. You're not welcome in my family, just the podcast family, because have you seen the people I'm related to? Anyway, good. If you haven't, then you can go out on a journey with me into the family, family outings, or what do they call them? The family get-togethers. You know, you've been there, you've seen that. We're all going to be doing it in Thanksgiving. So, no, I'm not inviting you over for Thanksgiving dinner, but you are part of the Chris Voss Show podcast family, which welcomes everyone. The family that loves you, but doesn't judge you, at least not as harshly as your mother-in-law. And she's nice. I mean, you really need to work on yourself. So do that. But we have an amazing gentleman on the show who will help you work on yourself and become an incredibly better person. And he knows I, of course, have a lot of work to do to that. In fact, I'm just barely getting started, as everybody knows, after 15 years. But as always, we're putting out 2 or 3 shows a day. We turned 15 in 2 days. And turned 15. Wow, I just feel old now. I got the sudden thing that came over me. We're approaching 1,500 to 1,600 episodes. What more do you want from me, people? Come on, man. Subscribe to the show and tell your friends, neighbors, or relatives to sign up and subscribe and join. Like, what do I got to do? Put a party hat and dance naked for you people? Anyway, that's the OnlyFans on Chris Voss. So watch for that soon. Anyway, guys, go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, youtube.com/Chris Voss, things we make up in the ramble. Go to TikTok /Chris Voss 1. And every place else we're over there. Today we had an amazing gentleman on the show, and I'm of course am not that amazing gentleman because I'm not a gentleman, but he is. Lion Goodman joins us on the show today, and he's going to be talking to us about his amazing work and insights that's going to make your life better and improve the quality of it. And God knows we all need it, especially me. Lion Goodman is a professional certified coach, and he's a transformational coach, I should specify. He's an author and a teacher. He created the Clear Beliefs method of trauma-informed therapeutic coaching, which he teaches to coaches, healers, and therapists around the world. The Clear Beliefs Coach Training is accredited by the International Coaching Federation and Association for Coaching, with more than 600 graduates in 45 countries around the world. His first career was in executive search and executive coaching, where he helped corporate executives and business leaders with their careers and team development. He taught workshops and trainings from around the world and has authored 5 books, including Creating on Purpose, Clear Your Clients, Limiting Beliefs, and Men Lightenment. I think that's for fat men. He's trying to lighten them. Is that what that is? No, I'm just kidding. That's probably not what it is. Welcome to the show, Lion. How are you?
Thank you, Chris. Happy anniversary. Happy 15th birthday. You're finally an adolescent. That's really good.
Yeah. We're finally a legitimate podcast, I guess, after all these years and 1,500 episodes. So welcome to the show. Give us your .com so people can find you on the interwebs.
Sure. LionGoodman.com is my personal website with connections to everything. And my training website for people who want to learn from me is clearbeliefs.com.
There you go. And you've written a lot of books. We're going to be talking about the latest book that you have out that we're going to be plugging away. Give us the title of that book, if you would.
Sure. It's Clear Your Clients' Limiting Beliefs. And it's for anyone who has clients, consultants, managers, therapists, healers, judges, whoever has people under their wing that they want to help. This process is a way of clearing what's in their way so they can move forward faster and better.
There you go. Now, is this targeted coaches or people like me who consult and have clients that sometimes I feel like I maybe need to give them an adjustment?
Well, everyone who has clients has problems with their clients because people aren't perfect. And what usually gets in their way is stuff from the past. And so our goal is to clear the stuff from the past so that it's not holding people back anymore. Resistance, blocks, barriers, old traumas from the past. So whoever your clients are, they've got stuff in their way, whether they're very successful executives or people on the street or people in the hospitals. If you've got clients, this process will help.
There you go. What if I'm the one giving my clients trauma?
Then you have to come to me to get your stuff cleared out.
There you go. Get me fixed first. So give us a 30,000 overview of what you do and everything in your words, and maybe some of the things that people are going to find in this book or your other books too. Feel free to plug away.
Sure. First of all, my specialty is beliefs. What are they? Where do they come from? How do they accumulate? And how do we get rid of them more than anything? Because everybody knows about limiting beliefs. But most people think of beliefs as a mental construct, like I believe in less government, or I believe in more government, or I believe in Santa Claus. These are mental constructs. But what I found in my 40 years of research is that beliefs are actually much deeper and much broader than that. They are the infrastructure of the mind. And you think of infrastructure, you think of pipes underground that come up into your house and deliver water and take away the poop. So that's what the infrastructure of the mind is. It's like the mind is made of beliefs in the same way that the brain is made of neurons.
There you go.
So we work with that structure in the psyche, which is mostly subconscious. We have about 10% of our awareness is at the conscious level. Most of it, 90% or more, is driven by the subconscious level. And that's what drives our behavior. It's what drives our reactions to other people. It drives our motivations, and it also drives wherever we get stuck. So our process is a way of going to the core. What is the cause of the stuckness? And over that 40-year period of research, I developed a methodology that goes in very quickly and clears it completely from the psyche.
There you go. So basically those pipes of poop get stuck.
Yes.
So you got to have a Roto-Rooter come in like yourself and clean them out.
We are the Roto-Rooter service of the mind. Yes.
There you go.
Nobody's called us that yet.
Explains there you go. There's a new tagline for your brand. Explains why people have told me I'm full of shit, or I got a brain full of shit. One of those two.
We all are. We all have the same issues. I'm
trying to excel at having more than others. It's a competition for me. So
somebody's got to be number one.
I'm trying, but evidently there's some politicians that are ahead of me, so they seem to always be winning with being full of shit. But there's still time. I can run for office next week or something. I don't know. You always meet people. There's an old line from what was that old bit from George Carlin? You walk around, that person's full of shit. Anyway. Enough of the shit jokes. So let's talk about what your journey is. What's your hero's journey that got you down this road, got you helping people and interested in this field?
I was an early student of consciousness and psychology and the brain. I started studying it when I was in junior high school. I was about 13 years old. And I was also studying spirituality at that time. And by the time I got to college, I created my own major in human consciousness. And so I graduated with a degree in human consciousness back in 1975. As far as I know, it was the first degree granted in that field. Wow. And that was good. I was on the bleeding edge because now there's lots of universities that teach about it. But it also created a problem, which is that I couldn't find a job. Nobody was hiring people with degrees in consciousness studies. So I got a job, just any job I could, selling jewelry and gift items to stores. And I traveled around the Southwest for about a year and a half, trying to figure out what I really want to do. And then an incident happened when I was 26, in which a guy who I trusted and was traveling with me for 3 days pulled out a gun and shot me in the head 4 times.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's 4 bullets to the head.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that changed my life.
Yeah.
And interestingly, after that happened, it's a very dramatic story, which we could go into if you wanted. But after that happened, I wanted a real job. And so I got a job as a headhunter, which is kind of ironic, right? After having your head hunted.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, taking 4 bullets to the head is a tough job. So I can see why you switched.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm making bullets to the head jokes, but there they are.
That's all right.
How did you survive that, by the way? I mean, we kind of have to clear that air on that just a little bit, because
probably
right now the whole audience is like, what the fuck, and how are you still here? Yeah.
Well, first of all, we were inside of a van. He was 11 feet away with his hand propped up. I was stuck in the back of the van in a crouch position, and by all rights and physics, I should be dead. The first bullet hit me and creased my skull, and I was shocked, obviously, because I wasn't expecting that. And then he shot again, and I realized I was going to die because I couldn't. There was nothing I could do to defend myself or get back at him. Mm-hmm. And so I prepared for death. Wow. Even though I was 26, I said, well, okay, this is it. I might as well die well. And so I went through my past, and I asked forgiveness from everybody I had hurt and forgave everybody that had hurt me. Mm-hmm. And he shot a third time, and the second and third bullets missed me by fractions of an inch.
Okay.
But I was already out of my body because I was saying, okay, I'm coming home, God. And this golden love light was flowing through me. And I was out of my body looking down at this little van where these antics were going on. I thought it was amusing. And then he shot a fourth time, and suddenly I was back in my body. My head was pushed to the side. Blood was rushing down. But I felt intact. I thought, that's weird. I'm supposed to be out of my body. I mean, I knew enough about death. Like, I'm supposed to be that direction. Why am I back here? Mm-hmm. And so I was kind of checking myself out, and I felt okay, except my head hurt a lot. And so I picked up my head and turned to look at him because I wanted to look at my assassin in the eyes before I died. Mm-hmm. And he freaked out. He jumped up and he said, "Why aren't you dead, man? You're supposed to be dead."
Wow.
And I didn't have a good answer for that question.
Plus, you were a little busy at the time.
Yeah. And then he said, "That's too weird, man. It's just like my dream." And I said, "What dream?" And he said, I dreamt this morning I was shooting at this guy and he wouldn't die, but it wasn't you. It was somebody else in the dream." And at this point, I thought, okay, who's writing this script? How did I get in this movie? And I don't remember signing a contract.
Yeah. It sounds like my first 9 marriages.
Yeah. So I thought, well, if I could keep him talking, maybe he won't shoot me. And so I began very slowly talking to him, and he kept saying, "Why aren't you dead, man? I shot you 4 times. Why aren't you dead?" And I just kept saying, maybe I'm not supposed to be dead. To cut a very long story short, we ended up talking for 8 hours after that incident.
Holy crap.
At one point, he decided to take me to the hospital. And then after driving a while, he stopped and he said, "I can't take you to the hospital." And I said, "Why not?" And he said, "Because then they put me back in jail. I have to kill you." And so we had another round of conversation.
Wow.
And so through that 8 hours, we found our way out of the situation. He didn't really want to kill me. I didn't really want to die. He didn't want to go back to jail. So we negotiated our way out of the situation. And 8 hours later, he let me go and I let him go.
Wow. That you study consciousness. That's a whole new level of consciousness right there.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so we solved that riddle. We can't leave. We can't be left on that cliffhanger of how you escaped that. But that's impactful in your story and your journey and how you got here. So you mentioned just a little bit about where you've gone next. You decided to find a real job.
I found a real job and became a headhunter. That was my career for 25 years. But all during that time, I was researching consciousness because I had a pretty dramatic experience.
Yeah.
And I wanted to understand, who are we? What are we made of? Why did his life turn into his being a killer, and my life turned into being a hippie salesman who's now a headhunter? It's like none of it made sense, but I knew that there were answers, and so I studied everything I could: psychology, personal development, philosophy, religions. I just kept studying and studying and studying. And realized after all that beliefs were at the core of the problem, that his life created beliefs for him that resulted in him taking those actions. My beliefs resulted in my life being in that place, and that was the key factor. And so then I really focused on beliefs to understand them. And after a lot of years of research, realized how to clear them out of the psyche completely.
There you go. It was good you went to college and trained on consciousness, so you're aptly prepared for. I mean, I don't think anyone's fully prepared for that, but at least you you could have some wits about you to get that going on. So let's talk about what you do and how you help clients. What do you find most people when they come to you, they're dealing with, they're trying to overcome, that you're great at helping people achieve over?
Well, everyone has something they want to achieve, something that they want more of, or something they want less of. Like I have a
Mhm.
disease and I want less of that, or I have some money but I want more money, or I have a career but I want to be better in my career.
That's me,
And
more money.
so everybody's got those things, what they want and what they don't want, what they want more of, what they want to avoid. And so I basically start there and say, okay, what's your vision? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to be? And what's in your way?
Hmm.
What's in your way is the answer to the question, what do you believe? And then we find out what the belief is that got that thing in your way. So, for example, baby's in a crib crying, and mom comes in and takes care of her. And that happens often enough. And she forms the belief non-verbally. This isn't a mental construct, it's experiential. If I cry and make a fuss, I'll be taken care of. That's a first belief for a baby. And it's a good belief for a baby. Now, the problem is that beliefs don't just disappear when you replace them. They just get pushed down into the subconscious. So you probably know someone, and some people in the audience may be someone who still uses that belief to get attention. If I cry and make a fuss, I'll get my needs cared for.
I think that you described all of social media.
Yeah. So that's a core belief that formed very early in childhood, before words, before language, before even memories formed. But we can go there and find those core beliefs and then clear them. And it's like we look through our beliefs like colored lenses, like sunglasses. If you change from green to yellow sunglasses, you're going to see a different world. And if you change the belief from life is hard to life is joy, you're going to see a different world. So we clear the old beliefs and then replace them with much better beliefs at the person's choice. The person gets to decide what they want to believe instead, what belief would give them the experience they want in life.
Hmm. There you go. It's interesting to me. I remember decades ago, I think it was in the 89 or 90s, when I first saw Tony Robbins when he was just starting out. And he talked about how two people can go to a party and one person can be in a very negative mindset and see negative things. And they go to a party and they see how everyone's bored, everyone hates it, no one seems to be having fun. And what they expect, or the expectations, their beliefs, are what they see. And they come around and they go, that party sucked. Right. And another person can go to the party and they can see the vibrancy, the fun, the happiness, the joy, people, doing stuff at the party, having a good time. And they can go, hey, that party was really awesome, man. That was an awesome party. And the two can meet and they argue over, like, that was a good party tonight. No, it sucked. And you're just like, so belief systems really shape how our perception is of things, which shapes our reality. Is that true?
Exactly. In fact, I'll give you a direct experience that I had once. I walked into a party and I was looking forward to it. I knew there was going to be a lot of people I knew. And I walked in the door and I immediately felt weird. It was just there, my whole body was vibrating. I didn't know
Oh.
what was going on, but I wanted to just run out the door the other direction. But having the technology that I have, I said, okay, something weird's going on. Something got triggered. I sat down right near the door, closed my eyes. I felt the experience, because you have to start with feelings, the felt sense of what's happening. Because if you push that away, you don't get the information. So I really sat and I felt it and I felt it and I felt it. And then I asked, what belief are you? And immediately I heard, I don't belong here.
Huh.
Now, I knew that I had that belief as a kid. I didn't belong, and I had cleared it, but something triggered it in this particular case. I didn't know whether it was maybe a smell or somebody's hand wave or seeing someone I had some unfinished business with. I didn't know, and it didn't matter. But what I knew is how to clear that belief. So I cleared, I don't belong here, and I installed, I belong here. I then I stood up, opened my eyes. I was in a completely different party. People were warm and friendly. They
Oh,
weren't
wow.
cold and weird. And they were waving me over, saying, hey, Lion, come on over. I was now in a party that I could enjoy. And that's one of the technologies we teach people, is how to instantly change your state because of something got triggered and it's just an old belief.
There you go too. And and how you appear, how you present yourself is also how people treat you. So if you'd stayed in a negative state and appeared to be unhappy and unfriendly and unsocial, and you're not really looking at anybody, you're frowning, people wouldn't invite you over or say come here.
Right.
And then after that party, you'd be like, everyone's ignoring me and being whatever. And it's like, no, you look like you're having a resting bitch face, and people are like, we were to leave him alone. He looks like he's in a bad mood, which is pretty much me every morning before coffee. So that's very interesting how that maintains and manifests your relationship, not only with and to inside of yourself and your mind and your expectations, but also to how that mirrors in the real world and shapes everything and you experience and you view.
Absolutely. And people come to me and they say, well, I've got a real problem with my husband or my wife. Can you fix them?
Mhm.
How can I change their beliefs? And my answer is you can't unless they want to change. However, you can change your beliefs about them. And that often changes the relationship. And every time when we clear someone's beliefs about the other person and the beliefs about themselves, the relationship changes because the relationship's a function of who we are, how we present ourselves, and how we respond.
There you go. So the one thing you do is you do trauma informed therapeutic coaching. What's trauma informed mean?
Trauma informed means that we understand the nature of trauma.
Mhm.
We understand the nature of the mind. We understand how traumas program beliefs into people because a child who's being beaten over and over by their fathers has to explain it to themselves in some way.
Mhm.
And a child can't blame their parents. So a child doesn't say, wow, mom and dad are really screwed up. They should have gotten therapy before they got married. And they should have gotten marriage counseling, before they had me. So
Yeah.
a child can't do that. They don't have that mind for it. But what they can do is come up with why they are the problem. There must be something wrong with me that I'm being treated this way.
Ah,
And so these self beliefs are very early and formed by traumas and by circumstances that everybody faces in childhood. So trauma can really mess you up in your life, or it can be what's called post traumatic growth. And post traumatic growth is where you have an experience, you work through it, you clear it out, you learn the lesson, and now you're a better person for it. So we're really trafficking in post traumatic growth. When we work with trauma, we're switching it around from the bad experience that happened to me and I'm a victim to here's the lesson I learned. Like, dad was beating me because he was drunk, not because I'm a bad person. So we're going
mhm.
down and really we're working with that deep infrastructure, the programs that the person acquired in their childhood.
There you go. It's interesting to me, and all the interviews and discussions we've had on the show, how much trauma really shapes people in their life, and how much sometimes what is trauma they don't think about as trauma. They discount it. They go, I don't know, that was really trauma. Some people, somebody on the show the other day said more people have PTSD than they thought, and so you can really see how trauma shapes the core of your life, your relationships, and everything else, especially childhood trauma. And it's sometimes only until you look back across your life and go, wow, man, maybe that childhood stuff had some impact.
Indeed. Yeah. And there used to just be physical trauma, war trauma, but now trauma is much better understood and categorized. So, for example, there's developmental trauma. Development means your development has been interfered with. Like parents are supposed to care for a child, and if they don't care for the child because of they're too busy, or they've got other things going, or there's 12 children, or there's a drunk in the house, or mental illness, that child does not get what they need as they're developing, and that's a form of trauma. There's intergenerational trauma where the traumas of our grandparents or parents are coming down into us. Holocaust survivors are a good example of that. That the
Mhm.
children of Holocaust survivors had a lot of trauma, even though they didn't go through the Holocaust. So
Yeah.
there's all kinds of traumas, mental, emotional, physical, even spiritual trauma. So we now understand more about it. And it's basically the things that went wrong. Because if the things
Mhm.
went right, you were loved, you were held, you were seen, you were supported, you were encouraged to be yourself. That's a non-traumatic life, and very few of us had that.
What? You mean that was an option? I didn't get that option. No, I'm just kidding. My parents tried. All parents try to do their best. I
They
think
do,
most parents try to do their best.
but
I know some that
it doesn't mean they did well.
That's true.
It was the best they could do. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. And sometimes in life, especially with generational trauma and other things. So, without getting into a deep sort of session, what are some of the ways that you kind of topically help people with heal their trauma, identify it? I suppose is a big proponent, and help work with them to heal their trauma.
We use a form of guided imagery where we guide them through a process that goes back into memory, and we're able to go back into memories that are subconscious, below the conscious level. Often people say, oh my God, I didn't remember that until just now. And we basically rework the experience. In psychology, it's called memory reconsolidation. They've discovered in psychology that you can undo a memory, change it, and redo it so that it reconsolidates in a new form. So, for example, if a father was beaten and the child says, I'm a terrible person, otherwise I wouldn't get beaten, we go back in time and help the adult self, help the child self by getting them out of that situation and talking to them and saying, look, it's not you. You're a perfectly great kid. Your father's drunk. He's got a lot of suffering inside of him, and he's taken it out on you. It doesn't have to do with you. And when the inner child understands that, something relaxes because they've changed their perspective. They've dropped the belief, it must be because I'm bad. And now the person is freed from that trauma. So we're not working with the trauma directly. We're working with the beliefs that were composed during the trauma.
There you go. Now, you mentioned the developmental trauma. So basically, when trauma happens, do we get locked into an undeveloped state? Does that lock us into a certain level?
It can. Yes, it can. So there's a thing called abandonment trauma and adoption trauma, and they're pretty much simultaneous, because if you're adopted, even if under the best circumstances your mom couldn't take care of you, she gives you to loving people who then take you out of the womb and take you home and raise you as a great kid, you still have abandonment trauma because you were inside that mother for 9 months, and now she's separated from you and is gone. So that is a traumatic experience to an infant, even though their mind isn't fully developed yet, but they can feel the separation. What's supposed to happen is the mother takes you and holds you and makes you feel comfortable and takes care of you and gets you, regulates your nervous system and shows you how to be a person. And whatever interrupts that process, that's traumatic.
I guess that really explains. I've had friends that were adopted, and they try to seek out their birth parents, and they're really obsessed with it. And I've kind of understood kind of why, but that makes even more sense now. That there's actually delinking there that needs. They're looking to fill that void or chasm and make that connection again, and why it's so important. And that makes sense. It's so amazing how some of these things that we don't really think of, a mother holding her baby, breastfeeding, connections with the child, and the things that go on neurologically in the brain when we see each other's faces, or a child sees his mother's face, or even when a mother sees their baby, they have a dopamine, I think, hit, or a chemical response in their brain too, that helps pair bond them and bind them to each other.
Right.
Yeah. Unlike me, I saw my kids sent in military school day one. No, I'm just kidding. They'll be back in 18 years. It's going to be fine. I don't have kids, people. That's a joke.
Yeah, and he won't be mad at you either. He understands you completely.
He does. And he's not going to look me up after this. He's like, I've seen them. Yeah, I spent most of my childhood pushing I was adopted, but whatever. My siblings are okay. Let's just leave it at that.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. There's a very famous experiment called the still face experiment, which is quite dramatic.
Really?
You can find it on YouTube. Basically, they took a baby and a mother who were really connected, and then they had the mother turn away and come back and just be still faced, like no reaction. And the baby's going, what's going on here? And they reach out, and then they they scream because it's like, what's happening? And their body tenses up. It's like you can see the
Wow.
trauma, even just the mother not responding.
Wow.
And when you see it that level, you go, oh my God, how many times did my mother look at me and go play, and I'm not going to take care of you right now. So we've all had this kind of experience as children, and it does impact us. And we come up with beliefs about ourselves and beliefs about other people and beliefs about the world from these early experiences.
There you go. I wonder how much that shapes when fathers are removed from the home, which seems to have
A
gotten
lot.
popular in the last few years. I
Yeah.
know the impact of not having a father in the home because fathers bring a different developmental thing than women do. They both. I mean, it's supposed to be both, so that they bring the thing, and there's full development not only from a relationship basis but from a development basis.
Absolutely.
And I wonder how much that impacts the case, because I've seen what the end life is of not having a father in the home, and what that looks like. And I've dated all my life. I've seen what that looks like. And so in fact, it's gotten to the point where I can be like, you didn't have a father when you were growing up, huh? Single parent, huh? And they'll be like, yeah, how'd you know? I'm like, yeah, I can tell.
Right.
So
It really messes with our relationship understanding and our understanding of who I am and who they are and who loves me and who doesn't love me.
yeah.
Fathers become more and more important as the child gets older.
Mhm.
But a missing father is like missing a limb. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really significant.
Especially in the shaping of men, because
Mhm.
I roll in tribes of men, being a masculine man, and I mean, we're men, that's what we do. And I see a lot of it, especially in gaming communities where we're going out and killing. It's basically the virtual version of tribing up as cavemen,
Right.
and killing stuff, and achieving stuff and doing things. And I see that. I see, especially if I meet a man who's very emotional and in his feminine almost all the time, and completely crippled. I'll normally find out that he was raised by a single mother and there was no father in the home, and I'll be like, okay, you didn't have an alpha male or a male that was around you to teach you that. And even worse, there wasn't someone to teach him the balance between when a men and women are in a relationship together, and how they make that work. Or sometimes maybe their situation was toxic. So
Yeah.
that's very interesting how that turns out. Now, you talk in your book about chakras and stuff. Do we want to delve a little bit into some of that work that you
Sure.
did?
That's my book on manifestation called Creating on Purpose.
Mhm.
And I wrote it with my dear friend Anadea Judith, who's an expert on the chakras. And I was an expert on manifestation, and we got together and wrote this book using the chakras as a model for the manifestation process.
Mhm.
So when you want to bring an idea into reality, that's manifestation.
Mhm.
Um, from a chakra point of view, we're connected at the seventh chakra, the top chakra, to spirit, and that's where ideas come from. Ideas just come to us, right? We don't necessarily think them up. Sometimes they just come. But then, how do you bring that idea into reality? Well, first you have to bring it down into vision. You have to have a clear vision of it. Otherwise, it's just a fuzzy concept.
Mhm.
And then you need to speak about it to other people and listen to their feedback and shape it and bring it into more reality. And then you move it down into relationship. That's the heart chakra. And in relationship, you need relationships to make anything work in this world. Even if you're an artist, a solo artist, you need a gallery and you need paint suppliers. And so you have to be in relationship in order to manifest anything. And then you move down into the power chakra, which is will. And that's where you actually start moving the world. You design a house, you can design a house in your head, but at some point you have to start moving bricks and wood and glass into a location, and having gotten the social approvals of the department that manages housing, um, and get your permits and all that. So you're in a social environment, but then you can start moving the world. You can start moving physical stuff. And then no matter what you're manifesting, problems come up. Old other things in the way. Like, I want to build my house here, but there's a 12-ton rock in the, where I want to build my house. So you have to have the passion. That's the second chakra, to move it forward, to keep going when the tough times happen. And then the first chakra is your base chakra at your pelvis, but it's also connected to your legs. And that's where you take one step at a time, moving forward toward your destination. So we describe this in the book, and it's a workbook so you can find out where you're stuck in the manifestation process how to get unstuck and start moving forward to manifest your dream or your idea or the reality you want to create.
There you go. I think there's a song about it. So the one chakra is connected to the other chakra. Wait, that might not be the same song.
But it works.
So it does. I've had my masseuses explain the chakra thing to me over the years, and of course, I feel much better after a massage. In fact, I'm less murderous after a massage.
Yeah.
So
I had one this week. I know exactly what you're talking about.
A murder or a massage?
Both. Yeah, both.
Oh, well, it's good to combine and do the things. But yeah, in fact, my employees, if I didn't have my weekly massage on Saturday for an hour or two, I think it was 2 hours, where I just basically fall the hell asleep. Like halfway through it, I'd just be like zonked. And especially if you rub my face. I don't know what is with rubbing my head and my face. I will fall asleep. Like I don't know if it's because of the nerves that are up here, those nerves that are in your face.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if your mother didn't stroke your head to get you to go to sleep.
My mother did do a thing with us as kids, as she would lay in bed with my brother and me. We shared the same room, but she would lay in bed with us and scratch her back, and she would sing us a song to sleep, and she would do that to each of us. And so maybe that's why. That I like, having my back rubbed and scratched, and yeah, I've fallen asleep to it. But yeah, I fell asleep, and I would sometimes be awoken, and the masseuse would be like, "You're snoring really loud. Knock it off. This is not relaxing at all for me." And I'm like, "Wait, it's supposed to be relaxing for you, me? What?" So there you go. What have we touched on in some of the ways you help your clients and help people overcome some of the traumas we are? Oh, one question I have for you. Well, you can bulk this in if you want, but one way it looks like you help entrepreneurs achieve what they desire and get in their subconscious mind. So I don't know if you want to cross both those bridges.
Sure. Actually, that combines my passions because entrepreneurs are trying to manifest something. They're trying to create something new, and they get stuck. And no matter what you want to create, if you want to write a book or you want to start a company or you want to create a new product, that is a manifestation process. And people get stuck and stopped more by inner processes, inner beliefs, inner talk, and the self-talk that people do to themselves than by any external circumstances. So entrepreneurs, I love entrepreneurs. I'm an entrepreneur. So that you have the passion and the will to get something done, to make something new in the world. And so I love working with entrepreneurs because they have the drive and the passion. They have often the understanding and the intelligence. They're just missing the part where they have to be nice to people, or they're missing the part.
They're be nice to people too, on top of all the crap I have to do as an entrepreneur.
Actually, I've got a great story for you. I was working with this guy who came to me. He was a multimillionaire, and he was a multimillionaire because he made millions, then he lost millions, and he made millions, he lost millions in his ventures. And he was tired of the pattern, and they call me the subconscious pattern detective. So working with him after a few sessions, I took him back in time to find out what was this thing causing this pattern. And he suddenly remembered being 3 years old, walking on the streets of New York with his mom, hand in hand, and he looked down and he saw a shiny penny. And he got very excited and he reached down to pick it up. And his mother jerked him back and said, "Don't touch that, it's dirty." And he suddenly realized that's why he couldn't hold on to his money, because it was dirty and he shouldn't touch it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap, that's powerful. Wow.
He didn't have to lose money after that.
Isn't it interesting how stuff in our childhood can shape us, man?
Yeah.
I mean, it really, the impact it has. And, I mean, at 50, I could look back across my life and go, you should see a psychiatrist when you're like 16, Chris. Come on, man. I have really bad ADHD, and I don't know, I was raised in a cult, so I had some brain damage.
You haven't done too badly for yourself, and you've spread yourself out to give your gifts to the world. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I just fake it till I make it. The rest of the time I'm at the psychiatry office, and he's we're scheduling a lobotomy for next week. So there you go. Well, not like I'm going to know anything after that.
You know what they say, I'd rather have a free bottle in front of me than a prefrontal lobotomy. Yeah.
There you go. Well, he is doing the discount version. I think he's just going to take a hanger and rummage around it up my nose. So there you go. Which is, Fridays around here. I don't know what the hell that means. So this has been wonderful to have you on the show, Lion, and interesting to do it. Why did your parents name you Lion? That's a very unique name. I think I'm curious about that.
Well, they didn't name me Lion.
Oh.
They gave me an assumed name, and by
Okay.
that I mean that they assumed I would like it when I grew up, and I didn't. So I changed my name at 19.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Well, you're living the life of a lion, and you're roaming about the Serengeti and changing the world and helping people create their purpose and stuff. Any final thoughts as we go out? Final pitch out.
My favorite thing to say in summary is that if you don't like some part of your life, examine your beliefs. If you're having a hard time in your relationship, examine your beliefs about that person, about relationships, about yourself. If you're having a hard time manifesting something in the world and creating what you want in life, examine your beliefs. That's where it starts. It always starts with awareness of what the underlying programs are. Once you identify them, come back to me. I can help you clear them out of the way.
There you go. So how can people reach out to you and get to know you better, buy your books, et cetera, et cetera?
LionGoodman.com is the easiest way to get to me. It's Lion Goodman. That gives access to all of my other websites. And so I have a coaching page there. I have articles, including the article and the description of my near-death experience. So it's a rich source. That's the best place to go. If people are interested in learning my technology, they can go to clearbeliefs.com, and that is my training program.
There you go. Now you have most of your books on Amazon, but this Clear Your Clients' Limiting Beliefs that we're featuring today, is that a free ebook they have to get on your website? They can't find that on Amazon?
That's right. It's a free ebook on clearbeliefs.com. So I invite you to go there and find the free ebook page and sign up, and you'll get it right away. It's a very cool book.
There you go. Awesome sauce. And, being able to clear your clients' limiting beliefs can really help you because, over the years, I've had wonderful clients and great clients I've always enjoyed, but sometimes, helping them maybe with their beliefs, helping them be more successful, just helps you be more successful. And clients that are happy and fulfilled will usually stick with you longer because they like you.
Absolutely. And when you can create transformation in your clients, that's what they're looking for. There's plenty of information out there. We don't need more information. People want transformation. They want their life to be changed. And this technology enables people to do that. So that's what's cool.
It's not always about selling products. It's about making people's lives better and make them feel good about their lives. I can look back across many of my corporations and products, and the way we tried to deliver them it wasn't just about the widget. It wasn't about the service. It was about the widget improving the quality of their lives from a feeling aspect or an aspect of where they're like, you made my life easier. And I appreciate that because life is hard enough as it is.
Indeed.
So thank you, Lion, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. It's been a great pleasure.
There you go. And go check out all of his books. You can check out all of them on Amazon and then get the one on his website, Clear Your Clients' Limiting Beliefs, and clear your own limiting beliefs while you're at it. So it's a twofer, if you will. Help your clients, help yourself. It's a buffet. There you go, folks. Thanks, Manis, for tuning in. Thanks to Lion for being here. And go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, youtube.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, and tiktok.com/Chris Voss. Thanks for being here, folks. Be good to each other. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time. And that should have